Well, thanks for staying with us. Thanks to Muftau for bringing us sports. Right now, though, we're crossing over to the Accra Mall. That's the convergent point for the NDC's March for Justice. Is a protest today, and Daniel Dassey is joining us with some live update. Daniel, if you can hear me, good morning. Tell us what's happening.
TV's Prime Morning. This is our coverage of the March for Justice, the NDC Youth Wing's demonstration, which is said to be against police brutality and insecurity in the country. My name is Daniel Dassey. As you can see, hundreds of people have gathered already, and they started gathering before 6 a.m. People have come from the OT region, from the Ashanti region, and from here in Accra. Let me quickly go to the former Member of Parliament for Ketu South constituency, Fifi Kwete, who is here with us. Mr. Kwete, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
In your view, from where you stand, how important is this demonstration?
No, I think it's very, very critical for the country that we mobilize the country to be able to demonstrate against the spate of what is going on. I mean, the country is becoming increasingly almost like a military state. I mean, there is, apart from the fact that there's so much fear in terms of the culture of silence, I mean, the danger that is creeping into becoming a situation where all kinds of what you call security forces are brutalizing citizens of this country. It's important for the people to be mobilized in order for us to express serious outrage against what is going on.
Is this call or this thing about insecurity, is it not directed at the head of security forces rather than the president and the vice president whom you are directing this demonstration against?
You know, the difficulty is that in the wake of what happened, for example, during the elections, when all kinds of brutalities, violence was committed against unarmed, innocent civilians, and nothing was done about it. That clearly opened the gateway for the kind of things that are happening today. So the real buck stops at the top. So it is important for the president to know that what is happening today is simply a gate that he has opened as a result of what you call the desperation to win elections and the kind of bastardization that took place and all kinds of flagrant disregard of human rights, including killing of innocent civilians. So you can say that this is simply a consequence of those things that happened earlier.
Okay, so shouldn't we separate the issues? I mean, in Parliament, your colleagues are dealing with the brutalities, the killings that took place, as you named them, that took place during the elections. And it was after the death of Ibrahim Mohammed or Kaka that this particular demonstration was called. Yeah. Aren't we mixing the issues?
No, it's important to understand that what is happening now is simply following a trend. And so this protestation is not just about what happened in Nigeria. It's basically a culmination of so many things that have happened in the past, even including what happened, for example, in the wake of the Ayawaso West war gun violence. And the fact that the president did absolutely nothing about the recommendation, effectively allowed the things that are supposed to be done to remain. That was what brought about what happened during the election, and that is what is continuing again today. So you can see that all these issues are together. They are linked up one after the other.
Right. But very quickly on the issue of Ayawaso West Wogon, as you name, the president acted well within his right to accept some of the recommendations in his white paper. He acted according to the law. Is that not what he's supposed to do?
No, but see, when you set up a commission yourself, a commission that really you set up, and that commission made a recommendation to you, and you literally don't do anything about it, what you do effectively is to render that whole exercise null and void. I mean, and again, the recommendations that were being made were nothing that were extraordinary. I mean, we're talking about disbanding a unit that had clearly become a completely different unit. That's really not too much to ask. And punishing people who clearly had done what was wrong. Now, when you don't do that, what you do is to encourage what it is we are seeing in the country today. So this demonstration is to be able to mobilize the country to express the right outrage against what is happening in the country.
Are we not seeing significant action being taken? If I'm to bring you back to Ijura, a 3-member committee has been set up. Yeah. The president has given them a deadline of just 3 days from now, the 9th of July, to present a report to him. Isn't this action in the right direction?
It's not exactly what happened during the Ayawaso West Wagon Commission, where the president gave clear commitment that he was going to do something about it. what really happened. So we are dealing with a group that has shown consistently that they are very good when it comes to words and also cosmetic action, but the real essence, nothing really matches that.
At the heart of it, though, at the heart of it, you mentioned culture of silence, you mentioned this demonstration. This government insists that the issues that you are raising are issues that are being dealt with, and it's just a political advantage your party is seeking to take of these issues.
No, I mean, what is happening now is simply not limited to a political party at all. This is something that the masses of the country are really up in arms against. So it's not just NDC, of course, as a political party, it's our right to be able to mobilize our supporters, but we are doing it also on behalf of the broader population who themselves cannot necessarily do this. So many other people are seeking to do the same protest because they are clearly very angered about what is going on.
You are referring to the Fix the Country demonstration?
Absolutely. And so many other groups that clearly are feeling that things are going completely wrong. So this demonstration is just in line with a lot of the anger that already is being felt all over the country.
We are here already, but at the heart of it, we are still in the middle of a COVID-19 pandemic.
That's true.
We are hearing that the Delta strain is in the country and is beginning to grow. Is it safe and prudent to gather people in this manner?
I mean, we believe that even though there is COVID, there are all kinds of ways in which you'll be able to mitigate, the effect. So as you see, all of us, you can see clearly a mask to be ensured that there is what you call, it's much better, for example, than when you attend some of the funerals that have been conducted by the members of the ruling party and the kind of absolute, mayhem that happened in those places. What it is we are seeing here today is much better. This is clearly much better, for example, than the football matches that are being played in the stadia in this country, where people are not even masked and are shouting and so on. Clearly, this is a much better situation.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you can see clear effort being made. As you yourself, and I'm sure your cameras can pick it, almost everybody here is masked. So you can see clear, effort on our part to ensure that we adhere to the right protocols.
To the issues you are demonstrating about, what is the intended outcome for you? Why are you here? What do you seek to achieve by coming here?
First and foremost, to draw the attention of the government on the fact that what is going on, something needs to happen as far as the leadership of this country is concerned. That's the first one. To also let the country know that the NDC will not sit idle while these things continue to happen. As what you call the party in opposition, we are going to make sure we keep mobilizing the people of this country to ensure that the right things are done. So at the same time, we are drawing attention of the president to the fact that enough is enough. At the same time, we are giving hope to the people of Ghana that they clearly should not be dismayed, because we will make sure that what is going on, an end is brought to it.
Finally, and away from the demonstration, it's been a while since we saw you at the forefront of NDC affairs. You're not in Parliament anymore. What's Fifi Kwete been up to?
I took a little bit of rest over the last few months, but clearly, as you know, once a politician, always a politician. So I've been pretty much busy helping, especially at the level of the communication of the party. You remember I used to be in charge of the communication of the party, so working very closely with the communication office. At the same time as well, preparing for a few things that are coming up, which announcement to be made very soon.
Care to give us a hint of these things that are coming?
It's a bit early in the day, but at the right time, I can promise you that I will definitely make sure Joy FM is one of the first to hear it.
All right, we'll hold you to that promise.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwete, for joining us this morning. There are a number of dignitaries who have gathered here. I can see Sam Jatta George. He's masked up by journalists at the moment. We'll go to him in a moment. But there are a number of supporters here who are here to, as you heard Mr. Kwete say, protest a number of events that have been happening in the country of late. I'll go to some of these persons to get their thoughts on these issues. But you're live on JoyNews and Joy Prime Television. This is a march for justice. Initially on the 30th of July, a letter was sent to the Ghana Police Service to let them know that this demonstration will happen. This demonstration will take place The Ghana Police Service responded initially and did not want to provide a contingency to protect or provide security today, but we've seen a formed police unit struck. We've seen the Greater Accra Regional Police Commander. We have also seen a number of police officers here who are providing security, who are keeping the peace. And we will, of course, be speaking to the security officials themselves. Let's get to speak to a few more of the dignitaries who are present. I think we'll get a bit closer to Sam George so that we get a word of what he's saying. We understand that the demonstration itself will start at 8 a.m. We understand that the demonstration itself would go through to Jubilee House and, of course, go forward to Parliament if possible, so that the concerns of the NDC members are sent to the officials. Let's get closer to Mr. Sam George currently and then get a few questions through. You can imagine it's a very, very busy day for the NDC and everyone who is gathered here.
You have Ejura. In Ejura, you had an armed Ghanaian citizen shot from the back. It is against the principles of international warfare to shoot a man in the back. Akufo-Addo is Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and the Armed Forces have carried out such dastardly acts. Akufo-Addo has not shown us the soldiers who killed the Ghanaian citizens in Techiman, the soldiers who killed the Ghanaians in Ejura. You saw the rampage in Wa. That is Akufo-Addo's legacy. He's the tyrant-in-chief, and we are saying to him, enough is enough. This same Akufo-Addo promised the youth employment. He promised them jobs. Where are the jobs?
Okay, Honorable, someone wants to argue that during your administration, some of these things you are complaining about unemployment, injustice is also happening in your administration. So how do you respond to that?
I'll debate you on that. Let's take the issue of injustice. I'm going to give you, off the top of my head, a list of some journalists who have suffered injustice under this administration. Then tell me those under the NDC. You remember the Modern Ghana editor? Arrested by national security, brutalized, his assets seized. What has happened to him? What has happened to that case? Remember Ahmed Swale? Killed in cold blood. Up till now, we don't know who killed Ahmed Swale. Remember Manasseh Azuri Awuni? What has happened to that case? Why did Manasseh have to run away and leave multimedia? Remember Edward Adeti? Why did Adeti have to run away? Okay? Multimedia's own Manasseh Azuri Awuni. Now, City FM, your own Caleb Kuda, Zoya Abubeidu. So you see the perpetration. Latif of multimedia. All of these are instances of assault and injustice against the media for speaking out. Now I challenge you. Show me similar under the NDC. But you see, the point here is this. I, Sam George, will not stand here and say the NDC is made up of only angels. We are not a perfect political party. It is because of our shortcomings and the promises of the NPP that we were voted out of power, and the NPP was brought into power. So we will not discuss what the NDC did that Ghanaians thought was wrong and voted us out. We will discuss what Ghanaians believed and voted Nanado into power, and do proper justice to that and say that Nanado has failed. And for that reason, compare the NDC and compare the NPP. We can take it sector by sector. When you take it sector by sector, you will clearly see that we are better. Show me one hospital, one that in 5 years Akufo-Addo has built from start to the end. Show me one university that Akufo-Addo has built in 4 years. And I can show you Muhammad's legacy.
Honorable, so let's go back to the justices. I mean, there was, by-election violence all over. During your time, you were just trying to ask whether we could mention some of them. There was challenges I can mention. There were violences. Military were unleashed on people. It happened under your time. Do we need a demonstration at this time of the year?
You want to compare challenges to Ayawaso West Wagon? Are you really serious? Ayawaso by-election were state-sponsored tax. Talensi was party vigilantes fighting amongst themselves. Ayawaso West Wagon was state-sponsored agents wreaking havoc on armed citizens. And listen, the president set up a presidential commission. What did he do with the report of that commission? And you want to tell me that today a ministerial committee will achieve what a presidential committee did not If the recommendations of the Ayawaso West Wagon Commission had been followed through, some of the instances you saw and incidents you saw in Techiman, in Savlugu, in Ablekuma Central, in Odorodiodio, in Ejura, in Wa, would not have repeated themselves. But Akufo-Addo cares less about this. That is not his interest. He is the tyrant-in-chief. His whole and sole interest is to ensure the perpetuity of his party in power at the expense of the life of ordinary Ghanaians. But let me serve a clear notice this morning. We have met with the IGP. We've agreed on the routes. We have agreed on all the protocols. To those who sat in the meeting last night and decided that they are going to put the military to meet us halfway on this walk, rescind your decision. Part of the reason for this demonstration are the excesses of the military. You don't want to provoke the people. The military has never been a tool for crowd control. The military is not trained for crowd control. We have had, as organizers, we have had no consultation whatsoever with the military. We have had consultations with the police, even as far as agreeing on what side of the road to walk on, where to make the turns and everything. So why bring in the military?
Which meeting are you talking about? Which meeting that has decided?
I said those who sat in that meeting last night and said that they should bring military into intersections. Be minded. You don't have the interest of this country at heart.
Isn't the introduction of military officers a part of crowd control now?
The military officers are not trained for crowd control, so what is their business on the road? Since when has the military been the one responsible for security in a demonstration? Has the IGP said that he's incapable of handling the situation? You see, this bastardization of the military is wrong. The military is not the first point of instance in crowd control. The military is always a backup when the police themselves make the request for the military. It is not a politician who should call in the military. And this is my message to the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Defense Staff. You are 3-star generals. The 3 stars on your shoulder were not given to you by a politician. They were given to you by your training, your hard work, and your years of service. Don't let a politician control you. Do what you know you swore an oath to this country to. The fidelity of our armed forces and our security services should not be to a politician, whether NDC or MPP. It should not be to a politician. Their fidelity must be to the red gold green that they carry and the coat of arms. That is what they swore an oath to. Look, we must, as Ghanaians, call for an end to the cycle of the bastardization of our security services. For how long? When it was my turn, I survived. You may not be lucky. You may not be lucky.
But Honorable, shouldn't you be directing your concern to the leadership of the military themselves and the security services and not the president?
Sorry?
Should you not be...
I heard your question. Do you know the title of the president? He's the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
Have you taken steps?
So if the army is misbehaving, who do you speak to? The Chief of Army Staff and Chief of Defense Staff reports to the president.
In the Wa incident, the Chief of Army Staff has taken personal responsibility and he's been proactive on it, showing that there's something that they can do themselves.
The Chief of Army Staff, he reports to somebody. That person set up an Ayawaso West Wagon Commission. What did he do with the commission report? What did he do with the commission report? So what you must ask yourself is, and in tree they say, we will look at the past track record of President Akufo-Addo. His silence for 7 months on the deaths in Techiman South, on the deaths in Ablekuma Central. Why? Are they less Ghanaian than those in Wa? I mean, look, let's call a spade a spade. I keep repeating, if the president had carried out the reforms in the Emil Short Committee report in our security services, Techiman South would not have happened. Ablekuma Central would not have happened. Odorodiodio would not have happened. Wa would not have happened. Ejura would not have happened. And so those deaths and the blood of those innocent Ghanaians is on the president's head.
Don't you have a responsibility in Parliament to call to ensure that this is done, especially with your unprecedented narrow margin between majority and minority?
You see, this is where there's a lot of misconception. Government business is not led by the minority. That's why there's a majority leader who is leader of business in the House. Now let's also bear in mind, we don't have a majority in the House. Well, for example, what we have done is to use our numbers to demand a parliamentary probe. However, after a parliamentary probe has found people culpable, we do not have the power to effect sanctions in the military. Because as a minority, we don't control the military. We don't have the power to effect the changes, the systematic changes, the systemic changes. Those changes can only be effected by those in government, the man who is commander-in-chief. So yes, the minority will hold them to account. Like this demonstration, it's a manifestation of holding them to account. Like the statements that our leadership and members will make, like the motions on the floor of the House by Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, Alassane Suhuyini, and Mahama Yarega on a parliamentary probe into the deaths during the December 2020 election. Those are things we can do. However, we don't have the capacity to then go ahead to implement the findings because we are not in government. It is the man who is paid with your taxes to do that job that we must hold responsible.
Why did you choose to demonstrate in the face of COVID-19?
As you can see, if the president can organize funerals, he can organize parties, he can organize tours in the face of COVID-19 without proper adherence to COVID protocols. We are more disciplined. We will do our manifestation, but we will observe the COVID protocols. And I'm sure you will attest to it. Everybody here is maxed up. Everybody. The organizers have made enough arrangements. Anybody who arrives here without a COVID a mask will be given a mask. We have over 10,000 pieces of mask to share out here for anybody who doesn't have or anybody who's get on. We have hand sanitizers. We are going to observe the COVID protocols. So we are way better than Akufo-Addo, who goes to funerals and doesn't care about the protocols and claims that he's commander-in-chief.
What about spacing? The General Secretary's statement said that we'll all stand at arm's length. That's not happening now.
Once we start moving, you will see it. The organization will ensure that we'll be held at arm's length.
Thank you very much, Sam. every country. We cannot allow it. The brutalities being meted to citizens by the military and the police must stop. And enough is enough. It must stop now. This is not the Ghana we know. Ghana.
Well,
you.
My colleague Daniel Dazi covering that demonstration from the Accra Mall. They are yet to actually hit the streets, starting with the plan to walk through that road all the way as they get through the Flagstaff House, I should say Jubilee House, also to Parliament House. Like you can see, they're going to go through the Accra Mall, and they're going to go through Aviation House all the way to Jubilee House, and from there to Parliament House as well. Daniel Dazi still on the ground, engaging some members, prominent members, who are actually hitting the streets this morning. And it's all about some of the happenings in recent times on the back of what has transpired in Ejura, the killing of Ibrahim Kaka, as he was popularly known. We shall cross over again to Daniel Dazi, who is having more interactions with some of the participants.
If you use it, you have to account for it. So what accounting processes are we going to go through to find out who killed those innocent civilians in Ejura? Who killed those that young girl, that 14-year-old girl during the 2016 election? Who killed Abbas Nuruddin? Who has been giving those commands for the people to kill those people? Who is responsible for the deaths of all those people? Right. It is not enough for us to hear that only 2 people died in the demonstration. Nobody should die in a demonstration. It is a manifestation of our civic right to speak our minds. Nobody should be shot at by any soldier. The soldiers are supposed to protect this country. They are not supposed to kill us with the bullets we buy for them.
Thank you.
So somebody should be finding out who did that. Before you go, you should be wearing red too, because 5 years ago, Joy FM, Joy News people were wearing red. When the Occupy Ghana protests were going on, you should be wearing red too. Are your pockets okay? Do you have money in your pocket?
Please, those are statements that we can't substantiate right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Shumbafo. Mr. Jenapo, thank you so much for joining us. Your thoughts on these issues of insecurity?
So far, so good for this demonstration. Yeah. We've demonstrated that we're a committed, resilient, and formidable party. If you look at the numbers, it tells you that the NDC is still solid, the NDC is still firm. But the essence of this demonstration is to drum home to government that the clear and manifest state of insecurity is getting out of hand. And that whether the Akufo-Addo government likes it or hates it, they must begin to prioritize the state of security. Security is a cardinal too. If you look at the murders going on, even the killing of policemen who are supposed to protect us, clearly Ghana is in a state of insecurity. You don't need any security expert to tell you that. That is why today we are demonstrating. But let me assure you, today's demonstration is the beginning of a series of mass action that will compel government to take the necessary steps towards curbing the state of insecurity. And so we are poised, we are determined, and we are more than ever ready to ensure that by law and in accordance with the Constitution, we exercise our civil rights. And that's exactly what we are doing today.
What mass actions?
Like I said, beyond this demonstration, we have various fora. In Parliament, you will see some action in Parliament. We represent the people. And if the people are insecure, it behoves on us to ensure that in Parliament, we advocate, we debate, and compel government to do what is right. Journalists do not have to die in the course of their duty. Policemen do not have to die just because they are in uniform. And so clearly, there's a clear state of insecurity. And so, like I said, the NDC being a civil, democratic, legitimate political party, in collaboration with other civil society organizations, would ensure that we exercise our mandate. And that is what we are doing today.
Earlier, your fellow MP, Kezlato Forson, told us that he does not agree with the ministerial committee setup. It should have been a bipartisan parliamentary committee. Is this a view you share?
It's a bogus committee. That ministerial committee is a bogus committee. And that is why I side with the ranking member of finance, the Honorable Kezlato Forson, that in Parliament we should push for a bipartisan committee. Even a presidential commission, the Ayawaso was work on presidential commission by Minshot. The president virtually disagreed with all its content. The presidency cannot do anything good for the people of Ghana. Parliament must take action. Parliament must rise, stand firm, and ensure that the people's representatives are seen working in the interest of Ghanaians. And some of us will push for that angle. But let me again reiterate that that ministerial committee is a bogus committee.
What makes it bogus? Aren't these esteemed persons who can get to the bottom of the matter? I mean, there's an appeal court judge there.
The very people who are complicit cannot investigate this matter. The very people who have been accused cannot constitute a committee. If you are accused of complicity and you turn around to constitute a committee by yourself, I can assure you that committee is dead on arrival. And so let me put again that that committee is a bogus committee.
Aren't you impugning the integrity of the persons who have been appointed to the committee?
I am not impugning the integrity. I'm impugning the integrity of those who constituted the committee. I cannot trust them. And that is why I said that that committee is a bogus committee.
You said a parliamentary committee would help, but in a cash for seat saga, we saw a parliamentary probe, and that committee came to a conclusion which your side did not agree with. So what difference would it make?
Certainly, with dissent, and the people of Ghana are the good judges. It's very important that we go through this process. But the process alone tells you that the minority had a very, very big say, and the minority was right. But in this hung parliament, I think that a lot can happen in parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let me go to the one on whose knees this particular demonstration rests, the youth organizer of this of the NDC, who called for this demonstration. First and foremost, you called for this demonstration. Are you satisfied with the turnout?
It's just the beginning. A lot more will be coming, but I can assure you that by the time we start the procession, we'll have a sizable number. You know, because of COVID, we've also encouraged a lot more people not to come out so that at least we can observe all the COVID protocols. But we'll have a reasonable number that will be enough to shake the foundation of this country and tell this government that enough is enough. We are not happy with the governance style and that we demand immediate changes to his governance style.
Last night, I saw a release signed by your boss, the General Secretary, saying that everyone must stand and march at arm's length. We are not seeing that now.
Because the procession is yet to start, but once it begins, you'll see that we'll try and observe all the protocols.
Now, this letter to the police was written on the 30th of June, a few days after the unfortunate incident where Ibrahim Mohammed Okaka died. Aren't you simply taking advantage of something that was a very, very unfortunate incident?
If you recall, the members of parliament on the NDC side have demanded that the interior minister comes before parliament to tell us about what the government was doing in respect to the people who lost their lives during the elections. So it is not because of Kaka. What broke the camel's back was the two who were shot again by the military on the 28th of June. What we told ourselves was that it was unacceptable for Ghanaian lives to be lost like that. The question we keep asking is, for how long is it going to continue? We saw happen in Mansour Dubiase, where 7 innocent people were murdered in cold blood. They initially tagged them as armed robbers, only for the police to turn around and tell us that they were not armed robbers, but rather a group of galamseyers. 3 years down the line, not a single person has been prosecuted. George Floyd died in America, and the government of Ghana had a nest and impetus to celebrate and organize a funeral here for George Floyd. Those Ghanaian lives were more important than that of George Floyd. But it is our taxes and it is our mandate that President Akufo-Addo has. So we are not just demanding justice for Kaka. We are demanding justice for every Ghanaian who has been murdered in cold blood by acts of state security. Too much brutalities have gone on under this administration, and we believe that this is the time for us to demand justice. That is why today we are out here. So if anybody thinks that it is because of what happened in Edra, the person may be mistaken. We are the biggest political party in this country, and we believe that if nobody can speak for the masses, we should be able to stand up and speak for the masses.
Now, at the moment, you are mentioning the security issues. We had the Ashanti Region PRO for the police say that the numbers actually indicate that security incidents of robbery and the like have gone down, but it's just that these incidents are more pronounced.
I don't know what kind of statistics he's using, because we all know what the numbers are currently. We've all seen what is happening. So if anybody tells you that security has improved, do you feel safe as a Ghanaian? You yourself as a journalist, how safe do you feel? Look at the number of journalists who have suffered under this administration, the number of journalists who have been hunted out of their houses. The case of Manasa Winnie Azuri, Captain Smart, and the numerous guys, Caleb Kuda, Zoe Abubedu. The list is endless. So you cannot say that what we are saying is not what is factual. The fact supports our assertion that currently there is a case of insecurity.
After this, what's next? Is this simply a demonstration for demonstration's sake?
I believe you heard what our brother John Jinapo said. This is the beginning of many more actions that we intend to undertake. So this is just one, but many more will be happening to make sure that we drum home our demands and we'll force this government to listen and listen to us.
Quickly before I move to Peter Otukono, so from here, where are you going and where's the end point?
The end point is in Parliament, but we are proceeding on this road, that is the Liberation Road, all the way to the Flagstaff House, and then we'll present our first petition. From the Flagstaff House, we'll proceed to the Parliament House and then give our second petition to the Right Honourable Speaker.
The Flagstaff House is a security zone. You're going to demonstrate there?
This is not the first time we are going there. When we were in government, Occupy Ghana came to occupy the Flagstaff House. We will also occupy the...
Occupy Ghana was not allowed to breach the security perimeter.
This is not the first time. We are going to the Flagstaff House to present our petition. We've sent them notice and we believe they'll be ready to welcome us.
Thank you very much, Giorgio Pariado. He's a very busy man. He's organizing all of them. Peter Otukono is here. He's Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, and we'll speak to him very, very briefly. First of all, the man you assist, or your boss, Johnson Esedu Nketia, put out a release last night encouraging everyone to follow COVID-19 protocols. Are you satisfied with what you've seen?
Certainly, I am satisfied. We believe that beyond the need to make a very loud statement through this public manifestation to the government, to reawaken them on perhaps their unconsciousness about the developments, the new developments. It is also important to protect the lives of our people. And that is why we encourage everybody to be COVID compliant at this demonstration. You've seen that there are sanitizers around. There are nose masks around. We are distributing them for free. Those who are not having nose masks, they are being assisted because we think that they must be protected as well. We know that the government perhaps is not concerned at certain points, with the COVID situation. And we have our own concerns, perhaps we'll discuss that at different platforms. But today, we are making history. We are making a very loud statement to the government that enough is enough. Enough of the state-organized aggression against innocent people. Enough of the state-sponsored killings of innocent people. Enough of the crime. Insecurity is growing. Now we are not safe. We are not able to sleep. You are afraid of armed robbers attacking you and killing you. You are afraid of innocent citizens killing you, and so on and so forth. Political killings are on the rise. We see political killings every single day. Government does nothing about it. Nothing happens to their investigations. We have seen journalists shot in broad daylight. The investigations end nowhere. We hear nothing. We think that it is time for us to rise again, perhaps in another revolution against this government, to change the course that this country is going. Because if we leave the country to continue on this path of state-organized aggression, this path of hardship, this path of difficulty, this path where the system is broken, we may not have a country again.
Revolution?
We'll probably lose this republic. And I think that is where we should be worried about. Countries that have gone this path of authoritarian leadership, dictatorial leadership, they have ended up in sadness. They have ended up in complete war. And we don't want that to happen. Perhaps there is a responsibility more embedded on us, or perhaps more, enshrined in our philosophy as a party, that we work hard and fight to protect our democracy. Bear in mind that the current republic was started by our forebears, President Rawlings and the leaders of our party. We owe every responsibility to the memory of President Rawlings to protect this democracy, and that is what we are doing today.
So you mentioned the word revolution, perhaps in another revolution. What do you mean by that?
What we mean by revolution is that revolution is a course to change the path or the direction of a country. And we think that at this point, this should be the end. This should be the juncture where we change the course of this country. The course of state-organized aggression against the people.
When you say state-organized, isn't that an unfair allegation?
The cause of state-organized murder. The cause of deliberately imposed hardship on the people. And that must end now. The cause of killing free speech. Fundamentally, when we drew our constitution, we knew that there would be a time where people must rise up and speak. So we gave the fundamental human rights of free speech. Now journalists are being killed. Now we are prevented from demonstrating. Now every attempt to express our concern about the direction of the country, we are stopped. And we think that cannot happen. The president himself is a beneficiary of this law. When we allowed him to do the plethora of demonstrations that he did in this country, he cannot stop us. Today, we are making history. Today, we are speaking very loud to the president. Enough is enough.
Thank you. I just want to get one quick word. I've seen very nice stickers. I've seen a lot of people gathered here. Some say they came from Kumasi, some came from the OT region. How much did this cost the NDC?
Indeed, we are not even concerned about numbers today, but we are heavily impressed by the commitment and the involvement of the general populace, not NDC people. What we are seeing here, most of the people, they are not NDC people. You understand? Enough is enough. The Ghanaian people are tired. They need an opportunity to vent. This is the opportunity to vent. And the numbers that you are seeing here cost NDC nothing. The numbers that you are seeing here is just readiness of the people to rise in the defense.
But there are stickers and poster placards here. How much did the NDC spend on this?
Oh, I mean, it will be a ridiculous question to ask at this time. When we are demanding the right thing to be done, you are concerned about cost.
I'm just curious. I'm sure a lot of Ghanaians are curious.
I think you should exercise the same zeal in holding the government accountable and asking them about the cost of bathing in the skies in the private jet. I think that is the energy where we should direct the energy. But this question about our cost of organizing democracy, I think that is most ridiculous.
It's still unanswered, but we leave it here.
And it's most premature.
We leave it here. Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Boama Otokuno. Okay, now let's speak to some of the people who are holding the placards, some of the ordinary Ghanaians who have come. Say, if you can join me, please introduce yourself and tell me, why did you leave home to come here at this early hour to join this demonstration?
Okay, my name is Kofi. I'm staying at Dansoman. The reason why I'm here is that when you look at the country, all that I would say is our leaders are disappointing the youth. They must do something so that the youth also will be occupied by some menial jobs so that they cannot use the youth to kill each other, because the youth, they are not doing anything. So when they call them, oh, come, I want you to go and do this, and then they give them just 50 Ghana, 100 Ghana, they will go and follow them and even do stupid things. When the youth are working, when they are busy at maybe at their jobs or in some companies, or they have been occupied with some business, my brother, they cannot use them the way they are using them because of 100 Ghana, 20 Ghana. All that I'm saying is the government, not only Akufo-Addo, but now he is on the seat. He must do something about jobless situation in the country. They will talk about NAPCO and other stuff. They are not getting paid for so many months. Akufo-Addo need to do something about the youth. That is my worry, and he should take everything in a good faith. We will say our mind, we will still speak in this country. So he should stop killing our brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Kofi from Dansoman. What's your name and what are your thoughts?
My name is Banga. My cause is to demonstrate against government overhandling of issues, more especially the killings in the country. Government is not being fair to us. They only get information when it's against them. When it's against the people they are governing, they don't hear the news. Why? Not to go back, can you please check how things are being run over the killings of the Techiman South? The people lost their lives. Till then, can you give me any information about it? Ahmed Swale was murdered in cold blood. Do you have any idea about what killed him? My brother, do you have any idea about what killed Ahmed Swale? No. You see, there have been many chronology of issues. Martin Amidu is on record to have said that Akufo-Addo is the modern serpent of corruption. I'm not sure he just said like a mad person. He said it based on what he saw when he was in office. He said, listen, this deal stinks with corruption. The government has kept quiet. There are issues, lots of issues. Listen, today cost of living in Ghana is very high. Even in West Africa, I don't think there's any country that can be compared to Ghana when it comes to cost of living. Why? My understanding of governance means when you come to power, you improve on what the previous administration is doing. When we ask questions, then they compare it to the previous administration. You were telling us that particular administration was not the best. Today you are in power. When we ask questions, you say when they were in power, What kind of analogy is this? In a car language, you say, how do you think this so much? Because Motia is a short person. If you measure height with a dwarf, you don't want to grow tall. We are not just here to demonstrate against Akufo-Addo. We are here because he's the president of Ghana. There's no law that bars him from resigning. If he thinks he cannot, you say, I said it, but I couldn't. Please take your thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm Jonas. I just want to tell Nana Addo and his MPP government that the killing of the Muslims are too much. After all, what are the Muslims has done for them? That all the killings happening in Ghana is like they are killing them. And the Muslims cannot be used as sacrificial lamb for the MPP government. You can talk of Ahmed Swale, whom Kenneth Japan has mentioned that he knows the one who killed him, but I think the government is being quiet on it. Can't go and chase the people. We've seen a picture of the guy with Samuel Oko and Co. They can just go in and question the guy about the killing of Ahmed Swale, but I think the government is quiet. Is it because Ahmed Swale is a Muslim? And all the things that's happening in the country is like the Muslims that they are killing. So we are pleading with them. But I'm just signing this caution to them that they shouldn't dare with the airways. If they touch one airway, they will burn the whole country.
I am Adiba Ransford, a Ghanaian living in Togo. At first, Togo people use Ghana to make example. Now Ghanaians are running to Togo. Since COVID-19, go to the border, go to Aflao border, go to Leklebi border, go to a whole border. The border has been closed. Getting to 2 years now. Our mothers, our brothers, our sisters who go to Togo and bring goods to Ghana, go and see how they're suffering there. They take 50 Ghana cedis for a citizen of Ghanaians before entry to Togo. Up and down to Togo border, 100 Ghana cedis. How much do we own? Go and check our sefa to CD now. 1,000 sefa is 10 CD, 50 pesos. Why? Are we slaves in our own country? Are we slaves in our own country? Go and look at the people who are in abroad, America, Europe, and other things. They are running to Togo, they can't come to Ghana. When you talk to them, they say, we are afraid. Our life at stake. Why? Akufo-Addo should leave us alone. Look at what is going on. Go to Togo. Go and see infrastructure. Go and see roads. They are giving the roads to the citizen. Togolese they are building roads to the citizen. When we are giving roads, then we give it to Chinese people. Why?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Miriam. Yeah, my brother. Today I'll go local because here near Bre. Me ba told me the Yawuza. Me a consortium to organizer NDC soon consortium. Na me bra.
Whom is the region?
Eastern region soon consortium to organizer NDC. Me bra eni bra ba. E kwanya na Akufo-Addo ni MPP for ebu man no masa enso eni. Ende ayemu hihye mu sanchafo we gwa emu amontokwa. Ye kum nipa ewu yesinya sanyo Akufo team eti no twa sano nim se ne chiachia eti uyo mampen ya to abama ubu maya enso ni ekoka ni ekum nipa ayam hihye ena aba mebra wa udi kanukwe kwa yefa se ekum sanchafo ende ekum yekum police fo yekum soldier fo.
Boss here, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me wrap up with the Member of Parliament for Buem constituency, Kofi Adams. Mr. Adams, tell me, what's your impression of what you've seen so far?
So far, so good. I think the people are comporting themselves. They are masked up. They are expressing their concerns. They are raising what affects them in diverse ways, from their various communities to the national issues. That is the objective of this demonstration, and I think that so far, so very good.
Now, to the issues of insecurity which have been raised in the publications ahead of this, don't you think that government is acting with the setting up of the ministerial committee?
No, I don't think they are acting. If you look at events, what happened recently just didn't happen out of nothing. There is a certain consistency of one event after the other, from Ayawaso West Wuogon to various incidents of military-civilian attacks, military and police attacks, and on and on and on, till we have reached where we have reached now. So, have you ever seen any report that has clearly been submitted on other events that have happened before? No. So we think that we must use this demonstration to let government know that the people of this country are interested in the findings We are interested in the investigation. We are interested in the actions that they take. Recently, when a journalist was attacked and the Minister for National Security investigated and released some persons, what happened to them? Some of them got even promoted. So we don't think that they are acting. They need to act right.
Okay, so this is state security agencies that you're talking about. Why direct it as government itself, the executive?
Of course, the president is the commander-in-chief. The president is the one who has ordered the Minister for Interior to establish a committee to investigate. The president was the one who established Ayawa Sowes Wagon Commission. The president was the one who issued the white paper. So who should we direct our concerns to? I can't go and be having a discussion with the Chief of Defense Staff. I can't. I have to act through the president because he is the chairman of the Armed Forces Council. So that is why we are using the legitimate means to communicate to them through the one who appointed them and the one who supervised them. So that we are doing the right thing by engaging through this means.
You are a member of the parliament in which minority has the largest numbers in the Fourth Republic. Your speaker is a member of your party. Couldn't you have used those means to lobby rather than gather all these people here in their danger?
Parliament will do what it has to do. Recently, Parliament have ordered one of its committees, the Interior and Defense Committee, to go into the war incident, and we are going to do that. Parliament will also be receiving petition from the demonstrators today, and Parliament will use its structures to also go into the concerns that will be raised in that petition. So Parliament will do what it has to do. As a political party, NDC, we have a responsibility also to our people and general populace, and this demonstration is one of such processes. Some people say COVID. Yes, it's true there's COVID, but if COVID didn't kill Kaka, COVID didn't kill the two others who died alongside Kaka at his burial. COVID was not the reason for someone losing his limbs. COVID is not the reason for what happened in Wa. That is why if something more than COVID is already molesting you.
And that is my colleague Daniel Dazi there, coming to you live from the Accra Mall as protesters gear up to hit the streets with that petition when it comes to some of the rioting, some of the scenes we've seen in our country, some people losing their lives from Ejura, and of course, even on the back of happenings in Wa as well. Stay with us. We'll be bringing you more on that.